The names Kim Taehyung, V, and Jungkook are once again at the center of global attention. This time, however, it is not driven by a new music release or a grand stage performance. Instead, it is something far more subtle yet undeniably powerful. Their visuals going viral once, again, and leaving a deep, emotional impact on audiences worldwide. In recent days, newly surfaced photos and short video clips of Taehyung and Jungkook have spread rapidly across social media platforms. Without heavy promotion or official announcements, their presence alone has captured attention. Many fans have described the experience as being stunned into silence, a rare reaction in today's fast-paced digital landscape. Taehyung appears with a presence that feels increasingly refined and mature. His gaze is calm, thoughtful, and layered with emotion. Rather than commanding attention through bold expressions, he draws people in through quiet charisma and artistic depth. To many observers, his aura now resembles that of a world-class film actor, effortlessly compelling, introspective, and timeless. Jungkook, on the other hand, radiates a different kind of magnetism. His appeal is grounded in natural confidence and understated masculinity. Simple gestures, relaxed posture, and subtle expressions combine to create a presence that feels genuine and approachable. Jungkook's visuals are no longer just striking, they are reinforced by emotional honesty and inner strength, making his charm feel authentic rather than manufactured. What makes this moment particularly fascinating is that the conversation is no longer about comparison. Instead, the public sees Taehyung and Jungkook as two complementary forms of attraction. Taehyung embodies stillness and depth, while Jungkook represents energy and vitality. Their contrasting yet harmonious auras only intensify the fascination surrounding them. Industry observers note that their visual appeal has entered a more mature phase. It is no longer defined solely by physical appearance, but by presence, experience, and emotional growth. Years of artistry, personal evolution, and global exposure have shaped a kind of charisma that cannot be replicated through styling or camera angles alone. For ARMY, this moment serves as a reminder of how far Taehyung and Jungkook have grown not only as global artists, but as individuals with distinct identities. For the general public, it reinforces why their names continue to resonate beyond music charts and trends. Ultimately, the visual allure of Taehyung and Jungkook is not about conventional standards of beauty. It is about how character, sincerity, and life experience merge to create a lasting presence. And perhaps that is why, whenever they appear even briefly, the world seems to pause, simply to look, feel, and remember. Beyond the immediate reactions, this renewed fascination also reflects a broader shift in how global audiences perceive idols today. Fans are no longer drawn solely to perfection or spectacle, but to authenticity, moments that feel unguarded and real. In this context, Taehyung and Jungkook stand out not because they try to capture attention, but because they allow it to come to them naturally. Social media analysts have pointed out that the virality surrounding their visuals was largely organic. There were no coordinated campaigns, no calculated trends, just spontaneous sharing driven by genuine admiration. This kind of response is increasingly rare and speaks to the trust and emotional connection they have built with audiences over the years. Their influence also extends beyond the fan community. Fashion editors, photographers, and creatives have noted how both artists carry themselves with a sense of ease that translates powerfully on camera. Taehyung's ability to convey emotion through stillness, and Jungkook's talent for expressing confidence through movement make them compelling subjects across industries, from fashion to film. What truly sets them apart, however, is the feeling they leave behind. Viewers do not simply remember what they looked like, they remember how they felt watching them. Calm, reassurance, admiration, and inspiration are emotions repeatedly mentioned by fans and casual viewers alike. In an era defined by constant noise, that emotional resonance feels almost rare. As time moves forward and trends continue to change, moments like this quietly reinforce why Taehyung and Jungkook remain cultural touchstones. Their presence does not demand attention, yet it consistently earns it. And in a world where visibility is often fleeting, that kind of impact speaks louder than any headline. In the end, this resurgence of attention is less about a viral moment and more about longevity. It is a reminder that true allure is not something that fades, it evolves. And for Taehyung and Jungkook, that evolution continues to unfold, one quiet, unforgettable moment at a time. This evolving perception also signals a meaningful transition in the global idol narrative. Taehyung and Jungkook are no longer viewed merely as figures within a trend-driven industry, but as artists whose presence carries weight beyond the moment. Their appeal is rooted not in constant reinvention for attention, but in a steady sense of self that audiences recognize and trust. Cultural commentators note that this kind of resonance often emerges only after years of consistency and growth. Both artists have allowed their identities to mature in the public eye, embracing change without abandoning authenticity. That balance between evolution and sincerity is what gives their current presence such depth. The quiet power of this moment lies in its subtlety. There were no dramatic reveals or orchestrated spectacles, yet the response was global. It suggests that Taehyung and Jungkook no longer need to announce themselves to be seen. Their influence now moves through emotion rather than volume, through connection rather than visibility. As younger generations of fans enter the global music scene, figures like Taehyung and Jungkook serve as reference points. They represent a version of artistry where vulnerability is strength, and where charisma is defined by inner clarity rather than outward intensity. This influence, though understated, continues to shape expectations of what modern idols can be. Ultimately, this moment stands as a reflection of endurance. While trends rise and fade, the presence of Taehyung and Jungkook remains quietly anchored, not because they chase relevance, but because relevance seems to follow them. And in a cultural landscape that moves relentlessly forward, that quiet constancy may be their most powerful legacy yet. Looking ahead, this moment may come to be remembered not as a peak, but as a marker, one that signals a new chapter defined by substance rather than spectacle. Taehyung and Jungkook appear increasingly comfortable inhabiting spaces where silence speaks as loudly as sound, and where presence alone carries meaning. In doing so, they challenge long-held assumptions about how influence must be performed in the modern era. Observers suggest that this shift reflects a broader cultural appetite for figures who feel grounded and human, even at the height of global recognition. Taehyung's contemplative calm and Jungkook's understated confidence resonate because they feel lived in, shaped by experience rather than designed for effect. Their artistry, much like their visuals, now communicates through nuance rather than excess. What makes this evolution particularly compelling is its sustainability. Rather than burning brightly and briefly, their impact unfolds gradually, wielding trust over time. Each appearance, no matter how brief, reinforces a sense of continuity and assurance that their relevance is not conditional on constant output, but on the authenticity of who they are. In this way, Taehyung and Jungkook have come to represent more than individual success stories. They stand as examples of a quieter form of cultural leadership, one that invites reflection instead of demand, and connection instead of consumption. For audiences navigating an era of endless stimulation, that restraint feels not only refreshing but necessary. As the global spotlight continues to shift and redefine itself, figures like Taehyung and Jungkook remind us that some presences do not fade with time, they deepen. And long after the moment passes, it is that depth, carefully earned and quietly sustained, that continues to draw the world's attention back to them. In the end, what remains most striking is not how loudly this moment was received, but how deeply it settled. There was no urgency to define it, no need to label it as a turning point in real time. Its significance reveals itself slowly, through memory and reflection, as audiences look back and recognize the quiet shift that took place. Taehyung and Jungkook, in their own distinct ways, have reached a place where influence is no longer asserted but acknowledged. Their presence carries a sense of assurance and unspoken understanding, that they do not need to compete with the moment because they already belong to it. This ease, born from years of growth and self-awareness, is what makes their impact feel both rare and lasting. For many, this moment becomes a reference rather than an event, a reminder that artistry can be gentle, that visibility does not require excess, and that true connection often emerges in silence. It is a subtle lesson in restraint, delivered without instruction, simply by example. As time continues to move forward, the images and impressions of this period will remain not as fleeting trends, but as emotional touchstones. And in that sense, Taehyung and Jungkook are not just part of the cultural moment. They are shaping how such moments are remembered. Quietly, without announcement, they leave something behind. And it is in that quiet permanence that their presence endures. Taken as a whole, this moment underscores a truth that often goes unnoticed. In a culture driven by immediacy, the most enduring forms of influence rarely announce themselves. Taehyung and Jungkook did not create impact through spectacle or volume, but through presence steady, assured, and deeply human. It is this quality that allows their relevance to transcend trends and timelines. Rather than chasing attention, they have arrived at a place where attention follows naturally. Their journey reflects a maturity that extends beyond artistry, revealing how self-awareness and authenticity can quietly redefine success in the global spotlight. In doing so, they offer an alternative, narrative one where longevity is built not on constant visibility, but on meaningful connection. As the headlines fade and new stories emerge, what remains is not a single viral moment, but a lasting impression. Taehyung and Jungkook leave behind a sense of calm certainty, a reminder that true presence does not demand to be seen, it is simply felt. And so this chapter closes not with a crescendo, but with resonance. A quiet echo that lingers, reminding the world that some figures do not pass through time, they settle into it.